Usa. Juventus nil. Atalanta 4. Player rating. Something new, something I'm looking to add to the channel. Make sure to let me know whether you like it or not. But let's just talk football. Let's talk performances. Let's talk the players. Who stepped up, who didn't. But most importantly, why? Why didn't they step up? Let's start off with Di Gregorio. The only guy that could leave with his head held high. The only person that can leave without facing any criticism. The only person that can leave out of that game, look in the mirror and tell himself, I gave 100%. I done everything that I can. And I feel like there was a period in that game where Juventus, they were under disgusting heavy pressure. I'm talking Atalanta overloads. They are one of the worst in the world. Like, you can't contain them, you can't stop them. Atalanta overloads. They're pushing the entire team in Juventus's half. Juventus players not tracking back, outnumbered, and then this is the icing on the cake. Atalanta have the shot. They get the rebound, and then they get the rebound on the rebound. And the only person that was really there, that was trying to prevent them from scoring, that was putting his body on the line, was Di Gregorio. And as wild as it may sound, I give him a 7 out of 10. Now, people might turn around and say, how do you give a goalkeeper that's conceded 4 goals 7 out of 10? I feel like no matter which keeper you get and you put them in that game, in those dynamics, in that situation, with that defensive structure, with that overall team structure, with the overall instructions of the game, every goalkeeper is conceding in this game. No goalkeeper walks out of that game conceding 0 goals. You can go and get prime Buffon. Buffon will concede. Fair enough. He might not concede 4, but I guarantee you guys he'll probably concede 2 or 3. It was a game where Juventus gifted opportunities, allowed Atalanta to create opportunities, and the only person that was really there keeping the score as low as possible was Di Gregorio. Next in line, Timothy Weah. Now, I feel like the revamp that he's had this season, I've loved it. I really have. Like, he was a player at the start of the season. He wasn't really getting an opportunity. The only time he did was when Conceição, Nico Gonzalez, Koopman were out of the team. And in an offensive area, like, he was very hit and miss. Savona shows he can't do it at right back. Timothy Weah gets dragged into that position. And I feel like he's really grown and brought a different dimension to Motta's Juve, where he can ball carry. He can offer those constant overlaps and underlaps in the final third. He can put a cross into the box. Yeah, it can be inconsistent, but he is a threat. He scored some goals. Defensively, he's helped. He gets stuck in. He's aggressive. He's tenacious. He wins his duels. He's got that recovery pace to catch up with wingers. But this is why me personally, sometimes I have a problem with players being revamped into something they're not. Let's just look at it like this. You get a fullback and mold them into a winger. They might have an amazing cross. They might have an amazing pass. They might have great technical ability. The one thing they won't have as an attacking player occupying an attacking area of the field is that sixth sense where they can smell an opportunity. They can smell an error. They know how to position themselves in the final third. These are all things that you pick up as a young age, playing in a position week in, week out, and growing up and developing throughout the years. Now let's just look at it in the opposite manner. He's an attacking-minded player playing in a defensive zone. I feel like tactically when defending, he can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it allows opportunities for the opposition to exploit him. But I feel like he doesn't smell danger, like he doesn't sniff danger, yeah? Like so many times I saw Lookman just getting the beating of him for fun, or Lookman would be on the ball and I'm sat telling myself, I know exactly what Lookman is about to do. But with Timothy Weah, he doesn't. And I feel like it comes from experience, it comes from playing in a role week in, week out. Something that he hasn't done, maybe besides the past month. But that's why me, personally, I don't like it when players get rebranded into completely different areas where they now require a completely different skill set. Because I feel like what's required of you as a fullback is completely different to what's required of you as a winger. And I feel like Lookman, he exploited his flaws. So because of that, I give him a 4 out of 10. Next in line, Gatti. Now, he doesn't even make the hour mark. And it's evident the dude is tired. He plays week in, week out. Lack of rotation. Now, fair enough, injuries. But he plays week in, week out. And when you play week in, week out, and there's demands, there's pressure, you are going to start to drop off and fade away. I give Gatti a 5 out of 10. I feel like when he did play, when he was on the pitch, He done what he does best. He always gets stuck in. He tends to win the majority of his duels. He doesn't shy away from the occasion. He steps up. He puts his body on the line. Fair enough. Playing out of the back, I don't think he's the best. Fair enough. He does make mistakes. But he's a player that leaves it all on the pitch. But where it's a problem long term with Gatti is the fact that even when he does leave it all on the pitch, is it good enough? Like long term for Juventus to go back to the level that they once were? No. But in terms of his performance for 52, 55 minutes, I feel like he probably done more right than wrong, and he was just on the wrong end of the field. Next person, Lloyd Kelly. Now I feel like with Lloyd Kelly, there's always going to be that cloud over his name of obligation to buy. It's when it comes to Lloyd Kelly, like I'll just keep it in summary: wrong player, wrong club, wrong time, wrong league, wrong fee, wrong plan, wrong project. The list goes on. Lloyd Kelly, I was a player that was actually fortunate to see him when he was at Bournemouth. And there was a lot of hype. He was a player of promise. Then he had injuries that set him back. He makes the move to Newcastle. At Newcastle, he doesn't really get an opportunity. He doesn't crack into the team. The question that I have is, how does a player fail upwards in life? If you go from Bournemouth to Newcastle, and then at Newcastle, you struggle to step up, you struggle to cement a place in the team, you get rewarded with a move to Juventus, and now you're a starter? It doesn't make sense. And that's why I said, I don't really blame the player. I just blame the overall recruitment, because you can clearly see tactically, and it's something that we've seen with Premier League players coming into this area, tactically they're not on par. Their reading of the game, knowing how to position themselves, it's not the best. I feel like tactically he gets exposed. I feel like technically he forces errors because he's not really a ball playing centre half, but now he's in a system where he's required to ball play. But the problem is he's required to ball play in a team that doesn't really position itself the best off the ball. On the ball. So with him, I just feel like when I look at his physicality, when I look at his technical ability, when I look at his IQ, when I look at the environment he's walked into, when I look at him overall as a player, what he's done throughout his career, it's just wrong player, wrong club. He made mistakes. Retegui had fun around him. I give him a 3 out of 10. Next in line, another player that gets a 3 out of 10. Cambiaso. Now, he is a player in the past month that's played a massive part in Juve winning 5 out of 5. He's been integral. He's been impressive. He's looked like the Cambiaso that we saw at the beginning of the season. But yeah, poor. Like very, very, very poor. Like so many times he would go forwards. You see he's just jogging back. Atalanta players, the overload, he couldn't handle them when he did get into the final third, where in my opinion he is cash money. Make it count. The crosses, they don't beat the first man. It was a poor performance from Cambiaso. Like, even in terms of just winning his duels, he lost the majority of them on the ball. He was giving the ball away. The passes were under hit. He looked like a player where all confidence was drained out of him before the game, and I genuinely don't know what the case is with Cambiaso. Like, as in, he started the season so well, inverting, sometimes even playing as a winger, doing well, building a nice relationship with Kenan Yildiz. Then he had the injuries. Ever since the injuries, he never came back the same. Then you had the rumours of him going to Manchester City. Picked up form as of late, but now it's dropped off once again. Why is Cambiaso, who's been a player in the past few years, one of Juve's most consistent of performance, you can now make a case he's one of their most inconsistent performer? I don't know, but it's definitely a question I need an answer to. So I give him a 3 out of 10. Next in line, Thuram and Locatelli. Both I give a 5 out of 10. Feel like with Thuram, he wasn't involved, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, of course, when you look at his numbers, you see he's involved, he's getting touches of the ball, he's making passes, but he just wasn't involved like the Thuram that I know, where he picks up the ball, he carries, he dribbles, he's a threat, he imposes himself. I feel like it definitely was a physical battle with Edison. And where Edison came out on top was the fact that he had teammates supporting him in midfield. With Thuram, Locatelli isn't the most physical. So when you go into a war, when you go into a physical battle, and you're the only physical player in that midfield, and you're coming up against physical players in Atalanta, it's practically like a 3v1. And I feel like in terms of the physical battle, he definitely lost it. He struggled. But from a technical standpoint, like, he done what he can. He broke play when the opportunity came. He progressed the ball. he put out fires, but like I said, if the opposition are going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get found out. You're going to get beat. I don't think it was one of his best of performance, but he's definitely a player, in my opinion, that drowned because of the performances of the players around him. Locatelli, I feel like Locatelli will always be remembered for that little exchange that he had with McKennie when Juve were on the attack. And as wild as it may sound, I don't think Locatelli done anything wrong, because I feel like he tried to do something that the opposition wouldn't expect, which is, rather than giving me the ball in the area where you're expecting me to put the ball into the box, I'm going to give it straight back to you to catch them by surprise. But the problem was, he caught McKennie by surprise. But Locatelli, for me, I feel like when coming up against Atalanta, they're physical, they're dynamic, they're direct, they've got runners. Like, let's be real. Everybody looks at Atalanta and says, how do these players in their 30s run as much as they run at the intensity that they run? That's the opposition. Locatelli, we all know, physically, he isn't the most gifted. So it's not a surprise he lost the physical battle. They had fun with him in midfield. But from a technical standpoint, I feel like he done well. Like, he passed the ball around. He tried to progress it. It's just, football is 50% physical, it's 50% technical. He lost the physical battle, and it played a massive part in Juventus losing the game. So I give him a 5 out of 10. In attack, can't believe I'm going to say this, Kenan Yildiz, 3. Prior to the game, it was mentioned that he has a little stomach bug. He might not be ready to start. He might have to start off the bench. Fast forward, Kenan Yildiz starts. He didn't look 100%. He didn't look 50%. Kenan is usually up, down, getting stuck in, winning duels, helping the team. Kenan looked tired. Kenan looked short on energy. Kenan looked short on technical ability. Kenan looked short on physical ability, giving the ball away. Kenan, poor, 3 out of 10. McKennie, I give him a 5. Like, with McKennie, you get what you get. Like, he gets stuck in. He helps the team. He presses. But it was just, like I said, it was a game where a lot of players struggled because of the players around them struggling. And it became like a domino effect. Him occupying a more offensive area of the field, he requires the ball. He needs to get onto the ball. Get him the ball into dangerous areas. Juve were struggling to get the ball, like, in the final third to their right players in the right areas. And with McKennie, I feel like he tried, but it was just a lot of attempts. It was just a lot of wrong decisions being made. And it's just, he had a few opportunities on goal, which the keeper made amazing saves, but it wasn't one of his best of performances. And I feel like physically, Atalanta got the beating of him as well, 5 out of 10. Nico Gonzalez, 3, and this is me being generous. I'm going to make a video on this dude because I feel like he defies everything Thiago Motta stands for, which is Thiago Motta wants a team that can play total football. Somebody tell me why this winger in the last 5 games in a Juve shirt has had a pass accuracy below 65%. Do you guys know how crazy it is to be on the pitch and have a pass accuracy of below 65%? You're very close to being at a 50% mark. It means every time you get the ball, you give the ball away. 65%, and for 5 games in a row, this dude on the ball is a liability. Everybody in the Juve team ends games. This is a Juve team that dominates the ball. Just remember that. This is a Juve team that dominates the ball. Everybody ends the game on 85% pass accuracy, 90%. The winger finishes the last 5 games on below 65%. Somebody needs to ask me why. Somebody needs to find out why. And somebody needs to find out why he continues to start. Because he's not helping this team in terms of ball retention. He's not helping this team in terms of creativity. He's not helping this team in terms of goal scoring. He's only helping this team off the ball. He's a defensive winger. And I'll be honest with you guys. Like, in a game against Atalanta where you need goals, he done nothing. You practically play with a man down. Nico Gonzalez, once again, I just think wrong player, wrong club, definitely the right league. He's done it in the Fiorentina top, but it's just, he's not cut out for Juve. I'll be honest with you guys. And this obsession starting him and playing him on the left when the majority of his career he's played on the right, it's wild to me, but I think he was poor once again. And finally, Kolo Muani, he's now gone over a month without a goal, and I sympathise with him mainly because Kolo Muani was never ever this fox in the box striker. No, he was definitely a striker that required service. He's a striker that had physicality, But when you look at the majority of the goals that he created, when you look at the majority of the goals that he scored in a Juve shirt since coming, a lot of them have come from like moments of magic, individual brilliance. Like you look at the goal against Como, you look at the goal against Empoli. They're all passes where he's now in an area where everyone's looking at him and saying, go out and make it work by yourself. It's not a team goal. Kolo Muani hasn't scored a team goal in a Juventus shirt. They're all goals that have come from nothing, whether it's mistakes, whether it's his own ability to pick up the ball, take on two players, put it into the roof of the net. And it's no surprise. If your number 9 is scoring goals strictly from individual brilliance isn't the most sustainable. And with time, it will fade away, and then you'll have a number 9 that's just fighting for scraps. A number 9 that's just fighting to have one shot on goal. And that's why I always sympathized with Dusan Vlahovic. I always sympathized with him, and I always said, get rid of him, bring Kolo Muani in. He'll score here and there, just like Dusan Vlahovic scores from here and there, but you will never ever see a consistent goal scorer in a team that doesn't generate and create enough opportunities for its number 9. Because of that, I give him a 3. Now, if you're new, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit the like button, make sure to let me know what you think in the comments, and I will catch you guys on another one.